Welcome to the Flexing Nerd Podcast. This is episode 1. I'm your host, Zach, and with me is my co-host, Corey. Flexing Nerd should be a obvious name. We like sports, but we're also nerdy people, so we'll cover things from NBA, all sports basically, to anime, cartoons, video games. We'll talk about all of it. So why don't you introduce yourself?
My name's Corey, and I think we want to start out with our favorite sports teams.
Favorite sports team sounds good.
So yours makes more sense than mine because yours is centralized around here.
That is correct.
So I guess fair warning, a lot of trigger warnings because I'm a Yankees fan, and people hate when you say you're a Yankees fan. But I feel like mine is more deserved. So when I was playing in Little League, I had minimal experience with baseball.
Sure.
So. I started looking up to players, and I didn't know what position I wanted to play. So for my first year, I played third base, but I had a pretty good arm. Not patting myself on the back; it was minors, so I could make it to first.
There you go.
So, the strongest arm kid, he always plays shortstop. So naturally, I like Derek Jeter.
That makes sense.
So and then I found out he was from Kalamazoo. So
that's cool. I forgot that.
Yeah, so I was like, well, that makes sense. I'm a Yankees fan. Plus, they were winning at the time, so you're a kid, so whatever. And then my dad's a lifelong San Francisco 49ers fan, so naturally I got that. And I don't really have a favorite basketball team. I mean, Kobe Bryant's my favorite all-time player, so I'll probably go Lakers.
If you had to pick a team, see, I'm in a similar boat. I like the Chicago Bears. They are local, but my family's lifelong Bears fans, so I root for the Bears. I love the Chicago Bears. That's my team. Thank God we don't have Jay Cutler anymore. Hey, but the other one, and I'll get a lot of hate for this too, my college team. I love college football. I love the Fighting Irish. Shut the fuck up. Listen, we will swear. I apologize for that. If that offends you, I'm deeply sorry, but it's going to happen. I love the Fighting Irish. I have been to their campus many times, been to a lot of games. I've got a number 3 jersey in my closet right now. The Fighting Irish are my team. For the NBA, again, I'm in the same boat. I don't have a favorite NBA team per se, but I follow LeBron James. I've followed him since he was in high school. He's my favorite player, so I will say whatever team he's playing for currently, but when he retires, I won't have a favorite team. I'm not gonna stay a Lakers fan. I mean, I don't care that much.
Well, I think that's in the same boat that I'm in as far as college football. I just love college football. I don't have a favorite team. I just love college football. And college basketball, let's be honest, it only gets interesting in March.
Yeah, and we will talk about it in March.
You can pay it like Zion was a huge thing this year.
Yeah.
But besides Zion,
can you name anything else in basketball? I mean, I can.
I will say college basketball, I consider myself a Duke fan just because that was the one team I latched onto as a kid, and then I was like, I guess I'm a Duke fan. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'll talk hella smack to North Carolina fans because you have to.
You have to.
But college football, I love college football, and sometimes college football is so much more exciting.
I agree.
Than the NFL.
Do you think it's more exciting because they don't get paid?
I feel like that, and then you got to put on that extra to get your name out there, get recognition, because every kid's, you're not playing college football and that's it for you. You want to go to the next level, and there's only so many picks. Was it 260 ish?
Yeah, 262. I think
something like that. Yeah, so and then there's a supplemental draft and free agency and all that, but you're gonna make your money.
Yeah, getting drafted. I think college football, it also goes back to, it's that school spirit thing.
Yeah.
Something about the cheerleaders and the marching band and all that stuff.
The stadium goes wild.
It's different. Yeah. It's a different feel than the NFL. Now, I love the NFL, but the fact that most of them do it for just a paycheck and not for the love of the game, what college players do, I think that matters. Now, I think college players should be paid or get some sort of...
It's like a stipend.
Something, because they make those schools a buttload of
Plus,
money.
I think we can be honest with ourselves. We just want college football video game.
Yeah, the NCAA game, that goes to the nerd part.
Yeah.
If they come out with an NCAA game, I will be on that shit immediately.
Immediately, right.
So that's enough about us, I think. You'll learn more about us as we go. But we'll start since it's the finals. It's summertime. It's the NBA, so we'll start. This is going to be mostly an NBA, I think, centered episode
For
this
right
week.
now, yeah.
But as summer wanes on, we'll talk about some baseball. I know we got some friends that really love baseball, so we will get to the baseball. Hockey. If you're a hockey fan, I'm not gonna lie.
There are certain sports that I think that we're definitely gonna not cover like we should, but that's why it's our podcast.
For sure.
You can focus on what we want.
The hockey will be, hey, this team won the Stanley Cup, and on to basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, I wouldn't mind going to a hockey game.
Have you ever been?
No.
Really fun. I went to a Notre Dame hockey game.
I've heard Notre Dame, yeah.
First of all, Notre Dame's really good at hockey. They're really good. But I went to the Notre Dame hockey game a few years ago. It's a different feel, and they're on the glass and stuff. It's cool. They're not allowed to fight though.
Hockey's one of those like baseball. If you're not really into baseball, I recommend even minor league. Go watch a baseball game. It's way better than trying to watch it on TV.
100%.
Don't watch it on TV if you're not into it because you're gonna be like, "This is the worst thing ever."
Yeah, you gotta for me. I don't really watch baseball on. I'll catch highlights and stuff because that's all I can handle out of a baseball game. But when you're there, you're locked in. I'm following pitch counts.
It doesn't feel like it's 3 hours long.
No,
you feel like, oh, this game's over.
But anyway, so
the NBA Finals.
The NBA Finals. Yeah, we're gonna get to that. So, this is after Game 1, obviously, so everybody knows the Raptors won Game 1 of the Finals, and now nobody... I mean, I heard a lot of the talking heads, kind of like what we're doing, pick Raptors Game 1, because Golden State had a longer layoff, the rust was there, that kind of stuff. So, I don't want to say I'm surprised they won Game 1. The Raptors are a good team.
Plus, you beat a team like the Bucks in 7 games, and you literally...
6 games.
Well, but I mean, like, in a 7-game series, you beat a team like the Bucks... You got some momentum going.
Most definitely. And see, the part that I find surprising, again, not that they won Game 1, but how they won Game 1. Because Kawhi Leonard was clear... They say he's got knee tendonitis and he's limping around. He's not 100%.
I'm sure he's got a sore back from just carrying
that last
team.
series. He carried him, but they team paid him back and they carried him Game 1.
Yeah.
He made plays. I know he had a few assists. He went to the free throw line a lot, which is what guys like him do. I mean, if you get to the free throw line, you can still make your points. You can still stay in the flow of the game. So he played really well. But Pascal Siakam, we have 32. Yeah, he had 32. He had 14 of 17 shots. I think they've been touting him as their second player all year.
I'll be honest, I didn't think he could score like that.
I didn't know he could score like that. I guess what I heard, I believe it was Stephen A. Smith said that the Raptors actually drafted him a couple years ago to guard LeBron in the playoffs. The whole reason they got a 6'10", long arm, athletic body was just to guard LeBron. And now it turns out that he can do other things too. And they're really liking him.
But the problem with that is they still have, they had Kyle Lowry, who is sometimes he at best, and then DeMar DeRozan, who's also sometimes he at best in the playoffs.
The thing with Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan, I think Kyle Lowry is... I don't like Kyle Lowry. I've never liked Kyle Lowry. He is an average... He's decent. I mean, he's a two-time All-Star or something, point guard, so he's not terrible.
He's good in the regular season.
And DeRozan is great for an NBA 10 years ago. His mid-range game is strong. He plays okay defense, but he's not a shooter like they need. But I think swapping him for Kawhi Leonard was a hell of a win.
Yeah.
Talk about a gamble, because he still might not stay. But that'll be stuff we can cover as free agency comes up.
But if they pull that off, though, yeah, it's going to be
very interesting. If they win this whole motherfucker... Now, listen, we were talking about this earlier before we started. But we were talking about how if Kevin Durant comes back and they win, the Golden State won with Kevin Durant. Here's my thing. I don't think these Warriors, without Kevin Durant, just your Steph, Clay, Draymond Warriors, I don't think they're that good. I think in 2015 they beat a hobbled Cavs team without Kevin Love and without Kyrie, and their second best player was Matthew Dellavedova. So let's pretend
he locked up Steph though.
He did, and Steph didn't show up for those finals. He didn't. He didn't play that well at all.
Yeah.
If Dellavedova's locking you down, something's wrong. You know how much money Dellavedova got off that finals, by the way? I think he signed
paid. The Bucks paid him, right?
Like $62 million or something ridiculous like that. So that first year they won. I'm not gonna say they got lucky. They won it, but LeBron by himself took him to 6 games.
6 games.
If he had the rest of his team, I think they probably win.
I think if he had just one, if he had just Love or just Kyrie, I think they at least push it to another game.
I 100% agree. And Game 7, I'm going to pick LeBron. I'm sorry.
The way Steph played, yeah, absolutely.
The next year, Cavs came back from 3-1. So in my hypothetical world, if the Cavs don't get injured, the Cavs are 2-time defending champions. Then Golden State gets Kevin Durant. Of course, you're going to lose with Kevin Durant on that team. So they win 2 more. But if Kevin Durant doesn't come back these finals, which I don't think he's going to,
No.
because he's got too much money to lose. And now I think Stephen A. Smith, again, says this a lot. If it doesn't matter Kevin Durant, what's wrong with him? If he's going to be out all of next year, I'm still paying him the money because it's Kevin
Well,
Durant.
not only that, but then you hear all the rumors about how he's already sold his house in Golden State. He's already bought a house in New York.
Yep.
Like, you hear all this other stuff. And, this is hearsay. Maybe he doesn't like living in
Golden
the
State.
Bay Area.
Sure.
Maybe he prefers a house in New York. But it does also hurt that he's been linked to the Knicks for, 6 months now?
Longer, if that. I mean,
so plus he even made a statement before he went to Golden State that he's never really chased the money.
no.
He took a pay cut not once but twice to play in Golden State, which I will say on the record I think him going to Golden State is the biggest bitch move in history.
That's
sports
fact.
history. People love to compare it to the whole LeBron going to Miami thing. The thing is, you can't, because before LeBron got there, Miami was at best 6, 7 seed in the
Somewhere
East.
in there, yeah. I think they won 45 games the year before he got there.
Not only did you go to a team that was 73-9 before you went there, you went to a team that beat you. They came back from a 3-1 deficit
On you.
Yeah. So it was the biggest bitch move in history.
But here's the thing. The only thing is history gets blurry. And in 10 years, when we're talking about greatest players of all times, if Kevin Durant stays with the Warriors and wins 7 championships, we're not going to think about that. We're only going to be like, wow, Kevin Durant they won 5 straight championships. This is the greatest run since Bill Russell's Celtics, who I respect, but let's be honest, there were 9 teams in the NBA.
Well, not only that, but when you look back at one point, they had 12 Hall of Famers on that team.
On the same anyway.
That's why Bill Russell never gets brought up. But then again, you can't hang your hat on just the rings you make, because there are players out there that have more rings than arguably the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan.
For sure.
Robert Horry has 7. So when you start talking about rings, you
That's
gotta cut it off.
That's why back before LeBron won his first, and it was well, he can't win the championship. That doesn't mean he's not one of the greats of all time, because sometimes great players don't. You run into things like the Golden State Warriors, who have Kevin Durant. Sometimes you run into things like, Jordan's Bulls. Hakeem Olajuwon has 2 rings because Michael Jordan took a year and a half off.
Off. And even then, they almost
did it.
They almost did it.
So I don't like the ring conversation either.
Yeah.
That does bother.
It does factor into how good a player is,
Yes.
especially if they're the leader on the team. But to me, it's not the end all be all. It's the same thing for MVPs. Like I said earlier, Kobe Bryant. I'm a huge Kobe Bryant fan. He won 1. When in basketball in a whole, he should have won 3. The 2 that the Steve Nash won,
Yeah,
he should have won both of those.
that's correct.
But the whole controversy with the whole
Rape.
thing that happened in Colorado,
Yeah.
they weren't going to give it to him. It's the same. It's the same
Why
in a
LeBron
lesser
didn't
extent.
win it his
And
first year in Miami.
Yeah, exactly. If you look at stat comparisons and who was more integral to their team, it was obviously LeBron James
And obviously Kobe.
obviously Kobe. But that's why sometimes politics plays too much into the awards.
Not only that, if you break down the name of the award, MVP, most valuable player, LeBron James is the most valuable player on his team and has been for the last decade plus. You can't give it to him every year. I understand that. But when LeBron leaves a team, what happens? They're in the lottery. The Miami Heat are picking 8, or they picked top 10 the last time when he first left.
Yeah,
the
but to be
Cavs
fair-
are picking top 4 again. When he left the first time, they picked in the lottery 3 of the 4 years.
Yeah, but to be fair, the Miami Heat, he literally left, and the whole thing just crumbled. And it wasn't. I mean, it was him too, but you had Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade, who were both.
Chris Bosh got that illness.
And then
blood
Dwayne
clots.
Wade had been crumbling even when.
When LeBron got there, that was the last year of Dwayne Wade's peak. That was the last year that he was flash.
Yep.
He had moments, and he still had moments when he retired. But that's what great players do. They can call it out once in a while. Kobe in his last game can drop 60. We have gone a far way from what we were originally talking about.
Yeah.
You will find that with us. The tangents are going to be ridiculous.
Huge tangents.
Try to stay on track. Take notes. Stay with us. Let's bring this back
bring it
to
to the
we were
finals.
talking about Kevin Durant in the finals. If he comes back, first of all, I don't want to hear the media coverage of if he comes back and they're down 0-2 and they win. I don't want to hear Kevin Durant save the Warriors, and I will lose it.
Yeah.
I can't handle that shit.
Especially since he's been there, they've tried to divide him. It's literally been Kevin Durant and the Warriors. Kevin Durant and it's not the Warriors. It's literally Kevin Durant and the Warriors.
Because he's a mercenary.
Yeah.
And that's what he brought that upon himself, first of all.
I don't know if I'd classify him as a mercenary only because he's only played for 2 teams. Like, mercenary to me is like a Jamal Crawford. Where
sure,
like
a traveler.
Yeah.
Mercenary, he went to the person who could give him the...
Yeah, but remember, like, Deion Sanders in the early 90s?
He was a mercenary.
He was a mercenary.
Going from team
but
to
you
team
literally
to win Super Bowls.
Paid him. San Francisco paid him for 1 year to win a Super Bowl. He left, went to Dallas, won another one. Like, that you... And there was one point where they literally said, if you want a title...
You signed Deion Sanders.
Deion Sanders. Which, I mean, I understand. But I wouldn't quite classify Durant as a mercenary.
That might be a bit aggressive.
I would classify him as a somebody who literally went to the best team just to win a ring.
I heard this on ESPN. He did you know how you drive around the parking lot to find the spot closest to the door? That's what he did.
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
found a spot closest to the title,
well,
and he hopped on.
Here's the theory that I think, and the main reason why he left Oklahoma City, and I don't think he wants to be the man. Like I think no, the man he wants all the glory and none of the blame.
That's an interesting take.
I think he left Oklahoma City because that was still his team. He was there before Russ. It's still his team. But
you don't think he left because of Russ?
I mean, obviously, you can't play with a player like Russell Westbrook and expect.
Anyway, see, that's gonna be another thing.
And expect to win. You can't, because I love Russ. I love his tenacity. I love his effort. Nobody in the NBA, night in and night out, gives the level of effort he does.
I 100% agree.
But you're never going to win a title with Russell Westbrook because he's so worried about
his
stats.
But can we say 3 straight years averaging a triple-double? That's never going to happen again.
And I agree, but hasn't it kind of cheapened it?
I see what you're saying.
The first year, it was amazing. Second year, a little less. This year, no one's talking about it. Everyone's only talking about James Harden.
I hate James Harden. Like, people are like, oh my god, he put a 50-point triple-double. He took 35 shots and made 11, I think?
He's literally a repeat of what Kobe was when Kobe didn't have anybody but
Lamar
Kwame Brown and
Kwame, the scrub, bona fide scrub. Stephen A, love you if you ever hear this podcast. Thank you.
Smush Parker.
Smush. I had a thought. It's gone. Anyway, James Harden.
I feel the same
in
way.
One of his 50-point triple doubles, he was 7 of 24 from 3-point land, and we're lauding that as a great performance. Right. If you take 24 3-pointers, even if it's an NBA game, I hope you can make 7.
Right.
Like, anyway, I hate James Harden.
If you can't make 7, why are you taking 24?
Right. And he took 36 shots total. So come on.
Like, of course, and take away. I don't know what he was from the free throw line, but take that away. That had to have been 20 points of it, right?
Probably 10 or 15
You can't shoot 7 for 24 from the 3-point line and expect to get anything higher than.
So anyway, that's finals.
Way off topic.
Let's talk about final predictions. I think my prediction is based on whether or not Kevin Durant comes back.
I was going to say yep.
If he does not, I think the Raptors win in 7.
Yep, because they've got Game 5 and Game 7 at home.
They've got home court.
They have to lose at home.
I don't think Golden State... They're just not healthy either, though.
Steph Curry is sometimes in the playoffs, and I've said that since the beginning.
Game 1, he played well.
Okay, he can have, like I said, sometimes you can have it where he's like brilliant.
But if he puts up another 30-point game in Game 2...
Yeah, and then let's not talk about the fact that Klay Thompson, sometimes you forget he's even on the floor.
He's sometimes-y. I'll give you Klay. Steph in the play, in especially in the finals, has been questionable. Klay, he still put up 20. I mean, not great when you think of Klay Thompson. When you talk about
one of the best catch and shooter, the best catch and shooter of all time.
The best catch and shoot. Nobody ever in the NBA gets as hot as Klay Thompson does.
Oh, for sure.
When Klay Thompson is in the zone, there has never been a more nuclear player.
So the basket must look like the sun, right?
Like, he just throws... Like, what, he put up 60 points in 3
Remember
quarters?
when Michael Jordan shot the free throw with eyes closed?
Yeah.
I feel like he could do 3-pointers like that, and it just buckets
when he's in that zone, he's unguardable and the hottest player ever.
So I agree with you.
I think Raptors
Kevin
win in
Durant
7.
doesn't come back, they win in 7. If he comes back,
They lose in 6.
you think the Raptors lose in 6?
Mm-hmm.
I think, especially because obviously he's not coming back for Game 2. So the first time it's possible that we see Kevin Durant will be Game 3 in Golden State.
Yes, and
So then-
I am under the impression he's not going to play. Kevin Durant has not done any basketball activities since his injury. That was a month ago.
Right, yeah.
You're telling me in a week he's going to be good enough to start in a finals game?
Right.
I think if you bring him back after a month and a half and he hasn't done anything, you're going to hurt yourself more than help. I know it's Kevin Durant, and he is, in my opinion, the best basketball player in the world currently.
Currently, yeah.
I still think you hurt your team bringing him back right now. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Because you can have all the talent in the world, but that's still not going to be ready.
You're not game ready.
Yeah, game ready.
You're not finals game ready. The only thing you have is maybe you're not as tired, but the problem is that you're not in shape. Even a month off from NBA games, that's a long time.
Yeah.
So we're both under the impression it's either going to go 7 or 6 games,
It's
and the winner
literally
depends
all
on.
dependent on Kevin Durant, what he
agree.
does. And Boogie doesn't matter.
Ooh, don't say he doesn't matter.
He had 2 points.
He played 8 minutes though.
Yeah.
Of course, it was his first game.
I don't
we
trust
just
him.
talked about his first game.
I don't
back.
trust him. His injuries. He played what? Couldn't have been more than 20 games this year, right?
He played a lot of games this year.
Yeah.
He's not injury prone.
And then he got hurt again. He was hurt, didn't play.
Do you even know what his injury was?
Torn quad, right?
Yeah. That's fluke.
What was before? Achilles, right? Big
That-
men,
that-
man.
that was the
once
last
their
year,
legs,
though.
Once their legs start to go, they're not the same.
I like Boogie.
So, all right.
Oh, speaking of Warriors, you had some interesting stuff to tell me about.
So, I was scrolling through social media or whatever, and I watched a video, and I thought you would find this very interesting. Did you know that the Warriors almost traded Steph not once, not twice, but 3 times?
I don't understand.
The first time doesn't really count because it was on draft night.
So
on draft night, this is when Steve Kerr still worked for the Suns as the GM.
okay,
He tried to trade their 14th overall pick. Okay, I told you these were crazy before we started recording.
yeah,
And Amari Stoudemire
really,
for Steph Curry, but they declined it because at the time Amari was hurt. So
the Warriors declined it because Amari.
because Amari was, they were concerned about.
So
his
they were
injury
going to
concerns.
trade. They were going to trade the Warriors pick, or they had already drafted. Steph.
They were going to trade it. Yeah, they were going to trade the draft rights. You know how they can do that on
Yeah.
draft night. They can trade draft rights. Yeah, they
That's
were gonna trade the
so.
draft
So
rights.
Phoenix would have had Steve Nash.
Steve
still?
Nash and Steph Curry behind him.
Wow, that would have been interesting.
I don't think that would have worked. But and then a couple years later, so this was when Bogut was at his peak. Is good. This was before he started getting hurt.
Andrew Bogut.
Yeah, Andrew Bogut.
Okay.
So it's the Bucks. The Warriors offered Curry and Udo for Bogut, but this was the time. This was when Curry kept hurting his ankles.
Yeah, his ankle injuries.
So they were worried about him. So this is when the Warriors still had Monta Ellis.
Okay, I
so,
remember him.
So that's who they ended up trading.
They traded Ellis.
So,
Yes, that's right.
interesting fact that I found out about this. So the current Bucks owner, right?
Yes.
I don't remember in what capacity he was involved in the whole trade, but once he bought the team, he fired the entire medical staff
Why?
because they said they were worried about Steph Curry.
His
That's the whole
ankles.
reason why I didn't go through, because they were worried about Steph Curry. So they got Monta Ellis, who is, by the way, at the time was a good player.
He was good.
But look what Curry's at. The best, not arguably the best shooter of all time.
100%. Now that's an interesting. That's interesting. But here's the thing. That changes a lot of stuff because I bet if they have a healthy Steph, they don't ever end up with Greek Freak.
That's actually what the article that I read said. That if that trade goes through, they never.
But see, and now,
But then again, is Steph Curry enough to? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Enough to carry a whole team. Like I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I like Steph. One of my favorite players. Although I don't like the Warriors. And that's just because
No,
I'm
see,
tired
but
of them winning.
I don't.
It's not nothing against them. I'm just tired. It's the same thing as Alabama. It's
Yeah.
fatigue. You're tired of seeing them in the finals every year.
I don't remember what guy. There was an athlete was on a podcast. I don't remember who it was, but he said they love to see you climb. It was Draymond, maybe. They love to see you climb to get to the top, but they don't want to see you stay there.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's interesting. I never thought about
But
it.
it's a good point, though. It's true.
point.
So this is the craziest of the three,
So this is the third trade.
and this one I think is the one that's is gonna rock your world. All right.
God.
So this was when Chris Paul was still with the Hornets, and the Warriors wanted they wanted to get better. They were in the win now mentality.
Okay.
So they were one of the teams that offered a trade. So they packaged the same two with Curry and Udo, and then just some guy that at the time when nobody really knew about him, Klay Thompson.
They were gonna trade.
They were gonna trade Curry, Udo, and Klay Thompson for Chris Paul, and the only reason it fell through was because Chris Paul said, "I won't sign a contract extension to play in Golden State."
So you're telling me
the Hornets,
the Hornets were gonna have Steph and Klay.
At the time, the New Orleans Hornets could have had Steph and Klay, but because they were, it was all stopped because Chris Paul said he wasn't going to sign a contract.
That's unbelievable.
That was my favorite one. Yeah, yeah.
So the Warriors wouldn't be shit then.
No, and can you blame them? Because like I said, the way the video that I watched and the way the article put it, at the time he had a lot of injuries.
Curry?
Yeah, with his
ankles were messed up for the first.
So you were going to try to get what you could for him, and to try to get at the time a peak Andrew Bogut and a peak Andrew Bogut, peak Chris Paul. You can't really blame him. And plus, you just took Klay Thompson. You didn't know that he was going to be what he is. And I thought it was really interesting that even back in 2007. Steve Kerr saw the potential in Steph Curry,
and now he's
offered
coach.
Amari Stoudemire.
Here's one for it. The Mark Jackson. Speaking of Warriors players, coach. He coached the Warriors before Steve Kerr did. Mark Jackson.
You said Lamar.
Did I? I
that
apologize.
That is a totally different player, man.
Totally different guy. Mark Jackson. He claims, in his opinion, he knew that Steph and Klay were going to be the greatest shooting backcourt of all time when he had them.
Do you have any proof? Or is that just you?
I don't know if he went on record.
Is that just you saying in hindsight?
That's just what he was saying the other day. I think those are very interesting. I think the reason the Warriors are where they are now is because of Steph Curry's ankles. Because when they signed him to his second deal, they didn't have to max him out because he wasn't as good and they had injury questions. So his deal was short and not worth as much money, which is why you had room to give Klay more money, why you had room to give Dre money, why you could bring in Kevin Durant. Because they didn't have Steph on the books for $150 million. So
kind of to transition away from the Warriors a little bit, because I know the big news about the Rockets.
Okay,
but
so
before we get there, can we talk about how so the GM for the Oklahoma City Thunder, that drafted Kevin Durant,
and Russ.
And James Harden.
Yeah, well, yes.
He drafted 3 MVP caliber players.
Consecutive drafts.
Can we just talk about that for a minute?
Yeah.
What other? I don't think that gets brought up enough.
It's impressive.
I know people always want to focus on the fact that, what could have been if they would have stayed. Let's not worry about that because you could do that all the time. What if the Blazers took Jordan instead of Bowie?
They had 2 of those. They could have taken KD instead of Greg Oden.
Yeah,
Poor Blazers fans.
To be fair though, what Oden looked like coming out of college
for sure.
But then I would have personally took because Kevin Durant when he played for Texas was crazy.
He's 19. Yeah, no, he should get way more credit.
So I wanted to kind of bridge the gap a little bit and talk about Harden because what you're
in the Rockets?
Yeah. So what the Rockets is
so the nuts. Rockets owner, I believe I can't remember who's the owner of the GM or a combination of the two. They came out and said every player on the Houston Rockets is available for a trade. Now,
can we put an asterisk next to James Harden?
Probably not James Harden.
Everyone he was like everyone except for James Harden.
Right, like the Adrian Wojnarowski said it's hard to see a scenario where they trade James Harden. I agree. Will Kane who is another talking head on ESPN, he said a trade between the Rockets and the Lakers makes the most sense for both parties. I can't tell you how upset that makes me.
So, what's the trade itself? I'm assuming
you're saying straight up.
So you're saying straight up Harden for LeBron?
Yes. And that he said his exact words were Harden for LeBron the Rockets contend for a title next year and probably beat the Warriors. And James Harden, he's 29, he turns 30 next year. His timeline matches up better with the younger Lakers. It frees up space because nobody wants to play with LeBron, according to sources. And they would be able to have a better pitch for Kawhi.
So
the Lakers would.
It makes sense in ways. All right, I will say that. Listen, hold on. The way you just put it, the Rockets want to win now.
Correct.
Go get LeBron. I get it. But my only problem with it is you're trading a 34, 35-year-old player for a 29-year-old player in his prime. Why wouldn't you want to build pieces around James Harden?
Exactly.
Kind of like, don't get me wrong. And you know how I personally feel about LeBron James.
Right.
I respect his greatness. I'm not going to say he's not, but I'm not a fan for various reasons that I'm sure me and you will argue about plenty.
Yeah, that will come.
So, but personally, I'm building my team around a prime James Harden versus there's no possible way LeBron. I'm not saying it is possible because normal players have started slowing down by now.
Correct.
And LeBron has not.
The only reason was injury, and he still put
up
up
27, freak injury
8, and
from
8.
a guy who doesn't get hurt.
He
got hurt.
Yeah.
You know, and this could be a sign of to come. You know, this
could be. That could be the sign, like Kobe's Achilles and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I'm putting my chips more on Harden, and it's nothing to do with LeBron. It's just the age thing.
No, okay. Fuck the age. Fuck all of it. Age is going to play a factor in this explanation, in my opinion. But you're going to take LeBron James, who, had you made this trade 5 years ago, 4 years ago,
you wouldn't have been able to straight up trade him.
No,
for not
but in a hypothetical sense, yeah, that LeBron, the world eater, yeah, he could do it. But it's the team. This Rockets team is not going to beat the Warriors. Yeah. Remember the Raptors trying to beat the Cavs? Same shit. Yeah. It is not going to happen.
You're not one piece away.
No, and even if that one piece is, let's say LeBron is 100% healthy next year. Even he can't do it. The rest of the team is not good. PJ Tucker's 35. Gerald Green is Gerald Green. Have you seen his haircuts? CP3
hold on. That was just disrespectful.
Listen, go look at his haircuts today. He literally put a rocket braid in his hair, okay? I'm done with him. Actually, I like Gerald Green. I really think he's a really fun player to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
He doesn't always make sound basketball decisions. Anyway, Chris Paul is a shell of himself, and Clint Capella's in the fucking way.
Well, Clint Capella, I was angry that they even gave him that money.
Yeah.
But they couldn't afford to let him walk because they already let Bahamute walk, and they also let Trevor Ariza walk. So you couldn't let another guy leave. You had to try to keep what you could. But here's the thing. The Rockets already made their biggest mistake. They traded to get Chris Paul, which they never should have done. They traded to get Chris Paul a year after they let James Harden run the show. And look what he did when he ran the show.
Right, but then when he got to the playoffs and he was exhausted, they're like, shit, we need another ball handler.
No, it's not that. You need another playmaker. You don't need another ball handler. You need somebody that can take the ball out of his hands. You don't need a...
Chris Paul.
No.
And listen... I watched those games.
Not a career second rounder. He never made it out of the second round.
Okay, but he's the point. Gave up for him. He's the point guard. Listen,
no, he's not. He's not. He's not even. He doesn't even scrape the top 5 point guards of all time.
Are you?
No.
You are hatting.
No.
Oh.
No.
All right, we can have this discussion later. Chris Paul is a fucking great quarterback, point guard.
We are literally going to have this conversation a little bit in an upcoming topic.
Why is Chris Paul?
Anyway,
NBA
teams.
Let's continue. We're on this. We will get to more NBA stuff in a minute. So, more NBA. Continue. Anyway, this trade does, in my opinion, the Rockets team doesn't matter who they add. They are not beating the Warriors.
No.
So I think it's a dumb trade to even fantasize about.
Well, you're talking about James Harden's not the problem.
No. He's a problem. But
but it's the team.
You're correct.
It's not one. You can't just swap them. And yes, LeBron does tend to bring a certain air of, but he's going to lose in 6 or 7 games.
Yes,
because he's going to do the same thing that James Harden does. He's going to be tired, and he's not going to be able to do it all by himself.
And that's the other thing, Mike D'Antoni's offense that does not suit LeBron James.
I don't like Mike D'Antoni.
Well, who does?
I didn't like him when he was in Phoenix. I didn't like him when he was in New York. I didn't like him when he was in LA, and I don't like him when he's in Houston.
No.
His whole philosophy of, we're not going to play defense, we're just going to outscore you, is the dumbest philosophy of all time.
I agree.
Especially when you
But he's got a defensive coordinator now.
Yeah, but still. It's dumb. So, besides that ludicrous trade, are there any other ones? Because I've heard some for Chris Paul.
Who's going to trade for that contract?
So, there are a few that I saw, but mainly it's either they're already in cap trouble,
right?
So they're literally just trying to get better, which was like, I think the Heat were literally talking about trading. We would swap him and Whiteside, which doesn't really make any sense.
Because Whiteside's got a terrible contract
No, that would be based on if you also got rid of Capella. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Whiteside's
And then
garbage.
I saw for Phoenix, because they've got the cap space.
They need a point guard.
And, well, not only that, but you're not one piece away. So if you get Chris Paul, you're going to put asses in the seats. People are going to come watch Chris Paul play with Devin Booker and, that young core.
They're going to come watch Chris Paul if he plays, you mean?
It's true. And then you have, when he plays, because he'll be there for, 40 games a year.
Dog, he's going to be 37, making $45 million a year.
I was not excited about that contract.
No, terrible contract.
Stupid. So, but anyway, I heard Phoenix. I heard Miami. What are you gonna get? Who realistically could you trade on that team and make you better tomorrow?
They want to get rid of Chris Paul.
Paul needs to go.
I think when they come out and say everybody's available, they're trying to say we will give you Chris Paul and anyone else you want.
Yeah.
Take his contract so we can free up the books so we can do something in free agency.
That's essentially how I feel. And I feel like the only way you're going to be able to pull this off is if you offload him to a team that doesn't have salary cap issues, that's just got salary cap to blow, but are also self-aware that they're not going to attract, like a Phoenix.
Right.
But the problem is, what are you going to get back from Phoenix that's going to make you a better team?
They signed, who's that shooter? Jimmer Fredette? Jimmer Fredette would love playing with D'Antoni.
Can I low-key tell you how much I love Jimmer Fredette?
Get out of my face, dog. Jimmer Fredette is trash.
I think it's probably because this grown man goes by the name Jimmer and he's just out there just dropping shots.
Hey, man, he went to BYU, dog.
Yeah, but
teach me how to Jimmer.
A little off topic. Speaking of shitty contracts, can I tell you how much I hate Gordon Hayward? Since we're talking about people we'd like to hate. He fits in the same category as Kevin Love. Small market player. Mm-hmm. And you could even kind of stretch this to Chris Bosh when he was playing with Toronto.
But Chris Bosh was good.
Yeah, but again, so was Kevin Love. Remember what Kevin Love was doing for Minnesota?
Yeah, what he put up 60 double-doubles in a row.
You put him on a team where he's doesn't have to do everything. He literally say, hey, this is what we need you to do. And then you put him in a spotlight. Hello, again, LeBron James. That's a different story.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gordon Hayward's contract was ridiculous. But anyway, let's circle it back. Let's talk about the Rockets.
Oh, we can talk about Gordon Hayward.
Here's my problem. I think trading Clint Capella and trading Chris Paul is going to be hard because you're going to have to accept the fact that you're not going to get a lot back because the other team is taking the brunt of the salary cap.
But I think it doesn't matter what they get back because in their mind, if they free up cap space, they get a free agent to play with James Harden.
So I did hear, because you know who Chris Paul is friends with?
LeBron.
I've heard that's a pairing right there.
No,
listen. Because LeBron, if LeBron walks in the GM's office and says, this is who I want, they're going to...
Bullshit, because who's the GM in LA? I'll wait.
You're right. So, but listen. So, I heard rumors that they're talking about trading Lonzo and maybe Brandon Ingram to bring him in, which is a huge mistake. I'm not saying... it's dumb. It's dumb, period. Because that whole swap of Harden and LeBron, that would never happen. That's a 2K trade.
Yeah, that's not. And I bet 2K would reject the trade.
And I think especially if you're the Rockets and you offer LeBron, they're like, no, we're good, thanks.
Yeah. Also, side note, we will get to more 2K in just a minute.
Yeah. So it's easier said than done. Like you could say everyone's available, but the money involved in Capella and Paul is gonna trump up a lot. Like I said, you're gonna have to either trade them to a team that's already in the salary cap and they're literally just swapping contracts, or you trade them to a team that has no salary cap. Like they're not anywhere near, and they're just trying to fill the seats.
I can see that. I don't think it's going to go well for the Rockets this offseason. I think they're stuck with what they got, and they're going to have to deal with it. But let's talk about more trades, more NBA. So we've been having this topic. We've talked about it a couple times. You know, it's a fun water cooler topic, in my opinion. And I think Allen Iverson actually said it a couple years ago. He said, "Give me Michael Jordan and Shaq, and we'll go 82-0."
Just him, three.
Those three. He said, "Give me those three." So we've thought that's a fun topic to think.
You could literally make an entire podcast just based on this idea.
Well, we could do this for hours, for sure.
For sure.
We've actually already kind of done a little bit here and there. So what we did was we went on 2K19 and we built teams that we thought could go 82-0. Right?
We had restrictions.
We did.
So if in an ideal world, most people know where you're going to go. Most people, you're gonna put Jordan on there. You're gonna put LeBron on there. So what we did was we put restrictions. So I said, all right, let's just go. And I ran it by Zach, and he was like, yeah, that's a pretty good idea. So I said, all right, no Magic, no Jordan, no LeBron, no Shaq. And then I threw Duncan in there just to round out a starting
player
five.
At every position, essentially,
to make it more interesting. Because if you're sitting there and you're like, well, yeah, okay, I'm going to take Jordan, I'm going to take LeBron,
yeah,
and then, of course, we wanted to make it more realistic, but at the same time, make it more interesting.
Yeah, you had to think a little harder. You couldn't just throw you the same starting five out. I don't know how different. We haven't talked about our teams yet with each other. We built them separately. We ran through a simulation separately.
We kind of wanted to surprise each other.
Right, so...
Which I guarantee at least one of my players, you're gonna be like, really? But it's fine, because I have reason for it.
We're going to discuss teams. We'll talk about how they did, and we will talk about some stats, some odds and ends here. So why don't we just go down the teams? We'll start with, do you want to do starting five and then bench?
Starting five and then bench.
Okay, so who's your starting point guard?
Oscar Robertson.
Steph Curry. So my starting shooting guard was D. Wade.
Kobe Bryant. I mean, you already knew that was coming.
I knew.
Anybody, this is your first podcast, right? And you already knew who my shooting guard was.
Listen, the thing is, I knew you were going to take Kobe, so I didn't want to.
I appreciate that.
I didn't want to. I didn't want to. I wanted to try to not have the exact same team because I'm sure we're gonna have players that match up.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I 100% knew Kobe was gonna be there, so I was like, no.
I appreciate it. But Dwayne Wade's not a bad one. The only thing is Dwayne Wade, he's nice.
He's nice.
He's nice.
Oh, he's nice. We're talking about Flash. Remember the finals, 2006.
I honestly think he is the third best shooting guard of all time.
I think that's 100% correct, and there's no argument for me. Who do you guys small forward?
Kevin
Durant. Starting small forward, Kevin Durant. Okay, power forward.
See, here's where I'm going to lose you, Dennis Rodman. And here's why. I don't need more scoring.
No, you don't
need it, especially once you hear who's on my bench. I don't need more scoring.
For sure.
I need someone to gobble up the rebounds and throw it back out to my shooters.
I thought the same thing on power forward, but I went more defensive. Kevin Garnett.
Okay.
Also, you're gonna notice a theme. I got D Wade. I got KD. I got KG. I got a lot. I like letter initials. Okay.
Who's your center?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I didn't expect. I went Hakeem.
Okay. See, now Hakeem's not a bad choice because I was literally going back and forth between Hakeem and Kareem. The only thing I was thinking was with my. So basically, my top three are my scorers, but with Kareem, I get a 7-footer who plays good defense and can score in the post. Not that Hakeem couldn't, but Hakeem is known for his defense.
Yeah.
Legendary lockdown defender. His post game is ridiculous. And it's 2K19. We're playing with today's rules.
That's why. But the main reason I went Hakeem is because defense. He can play. He can go out to the. He can on the pick and roll.
He can guard both.
Yeah. The pick and roll. Yeah. So who's your? So I literally went. Starting five, and then I went a backup for all of them.
I did the exact same thing.
So who's your backup point guard?
AI.
Mine's Steph Curry.
Interesting. Who was your starter?
Oscar Robertson.
Why would you start Oscar?
My mentality was, more shooting off the bench. Say I need more scoring. This is pretty much the theme for all of my backups.
Okay. My backup shooting guard, Klay Thompson.
James Harden.
Okay, see, here's the problem. Here's where we don't connect on that pick right there. James Harden takes too many shots. and when he comes off the bench, I know you want him to shoot. He will shoot all of the shots.
Yeah.
So I think James Harden's a good pick. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong. Clay does one thing. He's catch and shoot.
Yeah,
so that's my thought.
Plus, having Steph and Clay on the same team, you already know.
At any point is good.
So who's your backup small forward? Because I want you to say yours first. Because
Scottie Pippen.
Yeah. See, nope.
But defense.
No.
That's why
I love that pick, but I went in a different direction. Peja Stojakovic.
Did you?
Yep. Because name a better shooting small forward in his era that could still play today.
For sure. And
Dude's
you already
got
had Kevin Durant, I apologize.
buckets, bro. He's got buckets. My backup power forward was Amari Stoudemire.
Anthony Davis. What? Amari Stoudemire?
Yeah, Amari Stoudemire, dog.
Okay.
He could run the pick and roll.
Sure.
Plus, I wanted someone who could literally come in. Like I said, my bench is literally buckets.
Sure, buckets. Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns, the Greek Freak. Pick anybody.
I warned you, didn't I? That my back half was gonna.
Dude, your front half was questionable at best. Backup center.
David Robinson.
Joel Embiid.
No, David Robinson. No.
Buckets off the bench.
Yeah, I understand that buckets off the bench, but like Hakeem Olajuwon, according to 2K, by the way, this was one that I literally went and I looked through.
Mm-hmm.
They literally have him and Olajuwon like the same.
Really?
So I literally have the same guy.
Hakeem and
center.
who? David Robinson?
The Admiral, yeah. Like,
Okay.
they're literally the same. So I was like, and the way I did my minutes was, I literally, Steph and Oscar were the same. Kobe and James were the same. Kevin Durant had way more minutes than Peja. I just needed a backup somebody could shoot. And then Dennis Rodman and Amari were the same. And so literally, the face.
It was even.
It wasn't really my starters. It was literally, you could mix and match all the way through.
So for me, the way I did the minutes was I gave Steph and KD the most minutes, and by most I mean they had like 32.
Yeah, see, mine had 30. Yep.
So they had a tick more minutes. Everybody else was damn near even. I think Embiid had 19. I had a couple that weren't exactly 24 on the bench, but my starters had the most minutes. My guys on the bench had a little bit less, but I just felt like that's kind of how it was needed to be. I just needed them for bench scoring. So,
you simmed straight to the All-Star game.
we
right?
we simmed straight to the All-Star break. I looked at stats. I didn't take notes on it. I didn't write it down. I feel bad for that.
Yeah, I'm a little overachiever. You're gonna find my 4 All-Stars were, which I know I texted you when I found out. 2K19, you literally get to pick your All-Stars now.
You from the players that make the All-Star team. You actually
do
get
a
to
My
pick them.
League, you can either do one player or the other captain, or you could do both captains.
Really,
Which is really cool because then you could be like, all right, who would fit with who? David Robinson, Kevin Durant, Kobe Bryant, Oscar Robertson, excuse me, and Olajuwon made mine.
I lied. I had 5 All-Stars. I had Steph, KD,
Was it
D
your
Wade.
Steph?
Huh?
Was it your Steph?
No, it was mine.
Okay, because I wasn't trying to.
Oh, was it mine? I think he was wearing a Kings jersey.
Because Curry. Oh yeah, by the way, we forgot to
did.
mention that I literally tried to pick the worst. We put him in the West because I wanted it to be a little more challenging.
That's the challenge. The West is the more difficult.
And then Kings because
they're bad.
yeah, you blow up a terrible team.
Yeah. So
anyway,
I think so. We'll put Steph as my question mark because I'm pretty sure it was mine.
I had literally had to because on the screen the All-Star picks you don't actually get to see.
It does.
No, it doesn't actually get to show you like which Curry it was.
It shows you their jersey.
Does it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, yeah. So I had 4 for sure.
I had 4 for sure too. I had KD, D Wade, Kareem, and KG.
Were any of your starting though?
Yes. 1.
I think Oscar
it's
was the only starter.
not gonna make any sense though. It was I think it was KG. Was the only starter I had.
So Oscar Robertson was the only starter, and then my Durant was starting too, but like Kobe and Olajuwon came off the bench.
I had 3 guys off the bench.
How
first half of the season, I think I did okay.
we should also mention too that we left chemistry on, or I did.
Yes, we left chemistry on.
I think that's why.
Now, what was your? You said your chemistry started at 60, right?
Yeah.
That's what mine started at.
Yeah.
Was 60. I will say one game in this simulation, we left it on pro because we weren't playing the games, and
I don't think it would matter.
I don't think it would.
We did turn off injuries, but that
Just
was
to
because I wanted to
give it a good shot.
Yeah, that I didn't want the thing to keep popping up. Somebody got hurt. Somebody got hurt. Somebody got hurt.
If comment section wherever you're hearing this from, we do have a Facebook page. We'll have a Twitter before this goes up. You can follow us at Flexing Nerd Podcast. It'll be on the Twitter and the thing. Let us know what you think. Build your own teams. But if you think that pro was a bad idea, let us know. We'll run it back on Hall of Fame or whatever, just because it'll be interesting.
After this, though.
But my first. A couple notable things. I had a game, I don't remember against who, that my team won 150 to 87.
Yeah, what it takes to do one was like 148 to 84.
So a couple of times there were some blowouts, and maybe that was because we had it on pro. I don't know. We could run it back and see. But the first half, did you lose any games in the first half?
Oh, yeah. I lost my second game.
Oh.
I lost to the Pelicans 122 to 108. Like, not even close with the team I had.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I lost... two losses in the first 4 weeks.
Wow.
I lost the Raptors 112.
I went the first the first half of the season not half, but the first until the All-Star break, I went undefeated.
Damn.
Yeah. So far my team's looking better than yours, and it is better on paper because you made a shitty team, but that's fine.
And then I lost the first game after the All-Star break.
Really?
The Warriors. 136, 131.
But that's the real Warriors, so I don't...
But between those, I went 14 weeks without a loss.
That's impressive. Folks, I did it. I went 82-0. I didn't lose a single game.
No way.
Yep, I did it. So
I went 78-4.
The only thing I regret is I didn't look at the end of the season to see the stats.
I didn't really. It was pretty even for me.
It was even. The only person who that stood out was Steph was the only person averaging 20. Every other player though was at least in double
digits. Yeah.
So that was interesting.
No, actually, that's not true for me. Rodman was like 5, but like I said, I wasn't worried about him. And then Peja played like 10 minutes a game.
Hey, folks, I would just like to say that I went 82-0 because he built a shit team. Amari Stoudemire made your 82-0 team. What is wrong with you?
I don't know. Apparently, I'm not.
You didn't have any shooters.
Yeah, I did. One point guard through shooting guard. That's all it was shooters, though.
Okay, but listen. Your second rotation, you're like, I got all scoring. Amari Stoudemire's garbage. First of all,
wasn't worried about.
Let me tell you this though. When we decided we were going to go to 10, I had KD at power forward. I was going to run KD at the 4, and my original small forwards were Bird and Pippen.
See, Bird didn't even scratch, and that's only because I was thinking in the mentality of today's game.
He can shoot.
Yeah, but
he can pass.
Yeah, can he ISO though?
No.
Exactly. And who on your team 1 through 3 can't ISO?
That's not the point.
Yeah, yes it is.
Hey, who went 82-0?
You're right.
So shut up.
I'm saying that's the reason why I didn't put Bird on mine.
I didn't put Bird on mine, but in my initial draft, Bird was on mine. I changed AI's position to point guard instead of shooting guard, and I changed AD's position from center to power forward because he plays both in real life, and
He can play both.
He can, and I wanted Embiid off the bench, and I wanted AD too because how many players are like AD in the world? So I really took time and I built the team.
Did you lose it all in the playoffs?
I did not. I swept through the whole thing. I didn't lose a single game.
I lost twice more in the playoffs. I lost once to the Warriors and once to the Raptors.
Did you have any end of the year awards real quick before we go to the playoffs?
Yeah, James Harden won 6 man.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't have any awards. The only award I won was Coach of the Year. Duh, I went 82-0. Did you look at first team, second team, All NBA?
I had a few sprinkled in there. I didn't really worry about it.
I had the only person who made an all anything team was KG. He made first team all defense.
Yeah,
which is why
Oscar
I fucking
Robertson,
picked him.
Oscar Robertson and Elijah Wan were first team defense. Those are the only two that I can really remember.
So you played a lot of defense, but you didn't score. Anyway, I was geeking out when I got to the end of the season. I was like, I can't believe this is happening.
That's why I remember when I text you, shake my head. That's because I lost my second.
I knew, and that you spoiled it for me. I knew you lost the game. That's why I didn't want to.
It was dumb. You're right. My team is.
I mean, when you compare it to, here's what we should do. We should try to see if we can make these teams have them play each other, like in a simulation, and just
watch
see.
it.
we could watch or just run it real quick and just see whose team would win. Obviously, mine, I went undefeated. Who was your finals against? Because obviously your team made it to the finals.
Raptors.
My finals team was the Bucks. That's
And,
funny.
I just because it flashed on the screen. Oscar Robertson won Finals MVP.
D Wade won Finals MVP. My starting shooting guard. He averaged 19 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, a steal and a half, and 62% field goal percentage.
I know Big O had a triple double.
So
But obviously,
yeah, that's what he did.
yeah.
I was very, very happy, and I thought, like, I definitely assumed I was going to lose because going into this whole thing,
Yeah.
I had made crazy teams before, or whatever, but I didn't build any specifically with the goal to go out and go 82. No, just put a bunch of crazy players together, whatever. Right? I had thought 2K would automatically make you lose a game. Because think about it, when we had some of those crazy teams we made with like LeBron and KG and all those crazy teams, they would always lose one team.
Yeah.
They lose a game and you would never play that team again. I thought it was just something in 2K's algorithm or for some
You can't
reason.
let somebody go undefeated.
Right. And maybe that was just me being silly or whatever.
But I think the closest I've ever gotten to an undefeated season was 81-1. That was like in my own personal.
Yeah, I literally can't believe I went 82-0. I was sitting there, I was watching, I was like, I can't believe it. I literally can't believe what's happening. So,
yeah, I literally lost in my second game, and I was like, oh, this is going to be fun.
I mean, you weren't going to lose many.
Twice in the first month, and then I didn't lose again until the first game after the All-Star break.
I didn't lose a single game.
But
Can you believe
was
that?
The Warriors. So I lost to the Pelicans, the Raptors, the Warriors, and the 76ers.
I thought for sure I was going to lose a playoff
I lost
game.
to the Pelicans.
Yeah, that should make you sad.
Yeah.
You know why? They had Anthony Davis and you didn't.
You're right. But still. Man.
Anthony Davis can shoot. Who's your starting power forward?
Rodman.
God. So you had no scoring from the power forward spot. None.
I didn't need it.
Yes, you did.
I had Olajuwon, I had Kobe, Durant, and Oscar Robertson. Why do I need another scorer?
Oscar Robinson's not really a scorer.
I mean, I can't really justify it. Like I said, I lost. So, yeah, Dennis Rodman averaged five points a game.
Every single player was
14 rebounds.
Every single player was in double digits, and I think the lowest scorer they were like 3 guys tied with 11 points per game. Now, granted, my minutes were pretty even, so I didn't expect anybody to blow the team away.
I think too. I was trying to be different. I think that was my thing too. I was trying because I figured you could kind of you could kind of have your idea of who you're going to pick.
Most definitely.
So I did try to be different, but apparently too different was where I went.
I mean, how many of my guys did you even consider though? You said you didn't think about
KG came to my mind. Clay didn't.
I'll tell you what. It took me a minute to find Clay. Okay, that was the other thing. My original small forward wasn't gonna be KD and Pippen. It was gonna be KD and Reggie Miller, but Reggie Miller's not in the game.
Not in the game.
So I was like, I'll just leave.
kind of pigeonholed because even if you wanted Barkley, you can't have Barkley. Barkley in the game? I don't think Barkley's still.
And I was gonna. It wasn't gonna be. I don't know if I was gonna have KD at all.
Or
it might have been.
Rasheed Wallace,
that's what it was.
Who's underrated to me.
My initial team was my small forwards were Bird and Pippen, and then I was like, I don't want Bird, and it was going to be Miller, Pippen, KD, and
Reggie Miller played the 2 guard, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
But I wanted to put him.
That's right, because you were talking about putting Durant at the 4 anyway.
Right. So Durant was going to be my 4. It was going to be KD and 80
they
at
have
the
him
4.
at 6'9" in the game. There's no way
he is 7. Listen,
there's no way he's not 7.
There's a picture of him standing next to DeMarcus Cousins, who's listed at 6'11", and he is taller than DeMarcus Cousins.
Right.
He's not 6'9".
He's got hockey sticks for legs.
The reason he says he's 6'9", that I think, is because if he was 7 foot when he was in college, they wouldn't let him handle the ball because 7-footers are on the block.
That's stupid.
That's a real thing. He doesn't say he's as tall as he is because he doesn't want to be considered a 7-footer.
But you are a 7-footer.
Dog, you know how much better it is that you're a 7-footer who can shoot like that?
Yeah, and handle like that?
Bro.
Hate him if you want, which I
definitely do.
I'm not a big fan of Kevin Durant, but again, same thing. I respect his game. So, 82-0, you actually did it.
I fucking did it. So, I think that's a decent place to stop. This has been the first episode of the Flexin Nerd Podcast.
Absolutely.
You can find us on Facebook. Like I said, there will be a Twitter account. It'll be up before you guys even hear this, but there's going to be a Twitter account made. We're going to put these out either Monday. It's either going to go out Sunday night or Monday. It depends on when I get it edited, and I have a kid, so it kind of depends on when I can get it edited. But
Daddy daddy responsibilities.
Yeah, they kick in for sure. But I think it's been a fun first episode. We hope you guys come back to listen, and we'll see you next time.
Later.